Hi there. I'm on my way to Sesame Street right now, but the satnav has no idea where to go. So instead I might just talk about some computer games that are based on Sesame Street instead.
RetroKork.
I think we all are aware of Sesame Street. Even though it has changed a lot over the years, we still have elements that many of us love. A lot of us remember Grover as the waiter. We remember the segments with Big Bird, or the local equivalent. For example, in Germany we have Samson. And there's still Ernie and Bert's banter that's still entertaining to this day. Now, admittedly, over the years, the core audience of the show has gotten a lot younger since some of us started watching it now. Well, now Elmo instead of Big Bird represents the typical audience member. However, in the 80s we got some games made that bring at least part of the Sesame Street to us, or to any children that we expose to these games, though they should preferably have at least some basic reading skills, because as far as I know, as far as I can tell, I'm not hearing any words in any of these games. Now, many of these games were originally released by CBS Software, and quite a lot of them got a re-release later on by High-Tech Expressions. However, there seem to be two games, at least, that High-Tech developed all by themselves, at least that I could get to run. So let's begin with these. In Sesame Street, Pals Around Town, you get to explore 5 settings. From Ernie and Bert's apartment, to Sesame Street, to schoolyard and a classroom, and you even get to go downtown. However, the game seems to be a bit finicky in the intro sequence, as you should try to not touch your joystick before the introductory sequence is over and you're at the main menu where you get to choose where you want to go. You can control any of the Sesame Street characters that is on screen and move them all around the panorama, leading to scenes like, say, Ernie floating through the apartment, maybe Oscar's trash can balancing on top of the street sign instead of that light bulb, that globe that's usually up top there. It's a bit of a living sticker book, a pretty boring experience, if you ask me. Even if you discover that F7 allows you to pick props and characters for your environment, it may work as a short burst title, as a way to play as a reward, instead of an educational game. But since I haven't found out if you can do anything in this game other than basically, well, float around with some animation happening while notes play, yeah, it's not really what I would consider a game. More of a, look what silly things I can cause to happen time waster. The next game's kinda similar as it is Grover's Animal Adventure. Here you take on the role of the lovable blue fuzzy monster who's out and about to explore the wildlife in 4 scenes. Here you get to choose what basically amounts to stickers with the F5 and F7 key that you get to place in the environment. And even though it gives the names of the things in text, it's still more of a time waster than an educational title. Now, this game is a lot more educational, as we match objects in Big Bird's Delivery, where Big Bird and Little Bird basically work as mailmen. You get the instructions within the game. Now, keep in mind that the keyboard layout of the Commodore 64 is QWERTY, and the less than and more than sign keys may be on different keys. And the arrow up, that's the delete button, at least on Vice. Now you have two different games in this game. Either you match the parcel with the store sign, or you match the kind of item to the store. So fruits then go to the fruit store, toys go to the toy store, even though they may not be pear and teddy bear or something. Oh, and between each parcel, each delivery, you need to press return. Now, it's kinda nice, even though, well, the controls could be better. Like if they, for example, used a joystick. And the graphics, yeah, they could be better. They definitely could be better. I think the only one who's well realized is Big Bird. Though nothing comes close to the amazing effect of Ernie's magic shapes, where Ernie's outlines that make the mouth more prominent, they are in light cyan instead of, well, for example, black to separate things. Now this game has you match both color and shape of the magically created shapes or objects, though my copy seems to be defective, as I can only get the explanation, the instruction level to run. I could probably try going for the high-tech version, but since they often seem to have done a visual downgrade of the game, yeah, I'm not going to bother because this game isn't very attractive to begin with. But if it works, I can easily see it entertaining a 3-year-old, but then there's not much happening, so at the same time it could be rather boring to them. Unfortunately, a lot of the CBS titles from the Sesame Street line came with individual keyboard overlays that I don't have, so that's why I'm not covering, for example, Astro Grover, which was about math and numbers, or Big Bird's Playhouse, which was, well, it too was kind of a pattern game, I believe. However, I do have a description, basically a note sheet here, that tells me what is what for word, or is it letter go round? For the letter-based game that takes you to the fun fair of wheels. Was it wheels go round, words go round? That's what you get when you don't know what you're writing. Now, according to this, the spacebar stops the Ferris wheel, which usually means that the bottom letter will drop out and do whatever you're trying to do in your game. Comma slows the Ferris wheel down. C speeds it up. With the buttons K, G, and S, you select Cookie Monster, Barkley the dog, and Grover, respectively. So Grover's on S, Barkley's on G, and Cookie Monster is because he's already taken on K. With the slash key, the forward slash, you choose a level, and with the equal signs key, you pause it. Now, all else that's left to do is pressing cursor up and the fun can begin. It is a rather simple game where you either spell words, match letters, or do other relatively basic stuff with those letters. A common thing in these games is unfortunately the relative scarcity of music, possibly not to distract the kids from the tasks they're doing. And considering that some of them might have been used in kindergartens and primary schools or preschools, it's probably a good idea to not have too much sounds happening in the computer lab. Yeah, computer lab, because at that time we still had computers in labs, not in classrooms. Now, overall, these games are quite simplistic, especially for modern audiences that are used to a bigger wow factor in games. Even when it's going to be something simple like, say, a memory game on an iPad or something. But then again, I'm not 3 years old and I don't have a tablet PC. Still, these games are somewhat fun, albeit only for short periods of time. This episode of RetroKork was presented by the letter C and the numbers 6 and 4. The next episode is unfortunately going to be much less child-friendly. Sorry. But I don't think the topic is necessarily that adequate for kids. I mean, I'm going to talk about a game called Arachnophobia, based on a comedy, horror comedy, whatever way you want to put it.